Hey there, everybody. It's Dr. Craig Malkin, a clinical psychologist and lecturer for Harvard Medical School. I'm also the author of Rethinking Narcissism, which is devoted to helping you understand and cope with narcissism in all its forms and all your relationships. Today, I want to return to a topic that I've discussed before, and that is triple E, exploitation, entitlement, and empathy impairments, and in particular, exploitation and entitlement, or as it's known in the research, EE. I can just call it double E, and why is it so dangerous in pathological narcissism. If you like my videos, please remember to subscribe by turning the notification bell on so that you can see them when they come in, and please like and comment so I can continue the discussion like I am now. Just a review of what triple E is. Again, exploitation, entitlement, and empathy impairments. Exploitation is doing whatever it takes to feel special, unique, exceptional, that core grandiose drive of narcissism, no matter the cost to others, even if it hurts them. This is exploitation. Entitlement is acting as if the world should bend to our will in order for us to get our needs met, in particular our needs of feeling special. And empathy impairments flow from exploitation and entitlement. They are correlated, and that is why in writing Rethinking Narcissism, I put them together as triple E, but I'm going to focus on EE, exploitation, entitlement today, and why is it so dangerous. I'm going to give you an example of some findings in a research study that really looked closely at what relates to exploitation and entitlement. Some of the logic that you want to understand of why does entitlement come out in narcissism. If you think about the fact that the core central dilemma of being extremely narcissistic is that you want to feel special, you want to feel exceptional, you want to feel unique compared to the other nearly 8 billion people on the planet. And that requires some participation from other people, meaning they have to agree or they have to be part of it in some way, they have to affirm. And if you're not comfortable depending on people, if you do not trust that they will be there for you when push comes to shove emotionally for mutual caring and connection, and this is a big doubt in the mind of anybody who is narcissistic, especially to the extreme. If you don't have that trust, you're not going to really trust people to be there for you in that way. So entitlement is a way of bypassing that whole problem by just being demanding and insistent that one's needs be met. And then you don't have to even factor in, are there separate people, or do we have to consider them in some way? And that's what entitlement is all about. What we have learned from researching aspects of narcissism is that, roughly speaking, it can be broken down to between 3 and 7 factors, but more recently, factors, by the way, you want to think of as mathematical piles, that items on a self-report measure where somebody agrees with statements like, I like looking at myself in the mirror. That's a sample from the Narcissistic Personality Inventory. Or I won't stop till I get the respect that's due me, also from the NPI. Take all those items and see how they fit together mathematically, and they fall into 3 to 7 of those subpiles of items. The one that seems to be most rigorous is 3 piles. That is leadership authority, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's somebody who feels like they are good at being a leader and that they feel special enough that they can, say, be a president or a politician of some kind. And leadership authority doesn't really correlate with anything in particularly negative. It's considered one of those adaptive aspects of narcissism, that is feeling special enough to do big things. And then there's grandiose exhibitionism, which is also kind of exactly what it sounds like, which is enjoying looking at oneself in the mirror and showing off and engaging in something that also in the research is called effective adornment. And that is putting a lot of care and effort in developing skill and being able to put oneself together to look really, really good to others. That's part of grandiose exhibitionism. That one is a little less healthy than leadership authority. And then there's the big one, exploitation entitlement. And I'm going to give you an overview of what it relates to and why in other videos and other writings I've talked about the fact that if you're really looking for difficulty, if you're looking for signs of danger, it's really triple E that you want to keep an eye on as the core of pathological narcissism. This is a study by Ackerman and his colleagues. This study was done in 2001. There have been some more recent studies, but this is one of the landmark ones where they just looked at all the relationships between different measures of narcissism and different behaviors of concern or of note. Obviously, things like aggression are going to be of concern, and we're going to care about that. There's also something called sexual narcissism in the research. I can't remember if they looked at it in this, but that also correlates with exploitation and entitlement. And here are all the things that it related to positively and often strongly. This is why I talk about the dark triad so much when I'm helping people think about pathological narcissism. EE related to formal antisocial tendencies, people who are more likely to behave in ways where they say steal from others or they plot against people in the workplace. Machiavellianism, which is one of the dark tetrad traits, where people treat others and approach the world in a cold chess-playing manner, like Machiavelli himself. Then there's contingent self-esteem. This is what it sounds like. It's that the person only has self-esteem depending on what kind of approval or feedback they get. Devaluing others, strongly correlated to exploitation and entitlement. Obviously, this one, entitlement rage. The person gets angry if their needs aren't met. That is entitlement rage. Neuroticism. As exploitation and entitlement goes up, believe it or not, the trait of neuroticism goes up too. And that's kind of emotional intensity, instability. There are aspects of neuroticism that are also healthier, like having some kind of emotional sensitivity. And then there are less healthy ones. It mostly relates to the less healthy ones, exploitation and entitlement. Agreeableness, which is a factor on the Big Five personality inventory, or also called the NEO, which includes introversion and extroversion as well. On the NEO, agreeableness is also what it sounds like. These are people who are high in agreeableness, are fun to get along with, and they are more likely to get along with others. And the higher somebody is in exploitation and entitlement, the lower their agreeableness, college adjustment drops, and relationship quality drops. This is compared to, say, the other sub-factors like grandiose exhibitionism and leadership authority, where leadership authority really only correlates with things like social potency, rising to the top in social groups, extroversion, good self-esteem, being really active in seeking goals, and actually negatively correlates with contingent self-esteem. Grandiose exhibitionism also relates to social potency and extroversion and persisting, but it also has some smaller positive relationships in entitlement and rage. Only exploitativeness and entitlement relate to all of those negative qualities. So you can see this is why EE is of so much concern. So I hope that's helpful as an overview, helping you understand exactly why it's so important to be aware of exploitation and entitlement compared to, say, any other patterns of behavior, because it really does relate to all of the most aversive, destructive, nastiest qualities that can come out in pathological narcissism, and explains pretty much all of them. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please come back and listen and watch for more, because I'm going to be sharing more.